In the early years of the jet age, when the world shifted from propellers to swept-wing fighters, one aircraft emerged as a symbol of technological acceleration and strategic necessity. The North American F-86 Sabre, developed by the United States shortly after the Second World War, became the West's defining early jet fighter, an aircraft designed not only to counter rising global threats, but to establish dominance in a rapidly changing aerial battlefield. Born from lessons learned in global conflict and shaped by the emerging pressures of the Cold War, the Sabre represented a leap into the unknown, high subsonic speeds, swept-wing aerodynamics, and the challenge of fighting in the new realm of jet-to-jet combat. 2. Origin and development history. The F-86 was conceived in the United States by North American Aviation. Design studies began in 1944 as American engineers sought to translate wartime aerodynamic research into a new class of tactical fighters. The formal program matured in 1945, and the first prototype designated XP-86 took flight on October 1, 1947. The aircraft was intended to replace piston-engine fighters like the P-51 Mustang, and to compete with emerging foreign jet designs, particularly those developed by the Soviet Union. The Sabre's development was driven by the need for an aircraft capable of high-altitude interception, fast climb rates, and sustained maneuverability in an environment where airspeed and altitude increasingly defined survival. 3. Design philosophy and airframe. The design philosophy behind the F-86 Sabre centered on achieving the highest possible speed without compromising structural integrity or controllability. Early straight-wing concepts were abandoned after American engineers examined German research into swept-wing aerodynamics recovered at the end of World War II. This data directly influenced the Sabre's 35-degree swept wings and tail surfaces, reducing drag at high speeds and delaying the onset of compressibility effects. The airframe was built primarily from aluminum alloys, with a semi-monocoque fuselage structure providing strength while maintaining weight efficiency. The cockpit offered unobstructed visibility through a distinctive bubble canopy. The wing featured a thin, low-drag profile, with automatic leading-edge slats to enhance low-speed handling and improve maneuverability during tight turns or high-angle love-attack flight. What set the F-86 apart visually and technically was this combination of swept wings, a clean aerodynamic fuselage, and a nose-mounted air intake feeding a single turbojet engine. It was one of the earliest fighters to harmonize aerodynamics, stability, and speed in a practical frontline design. For engine and propulsion system, most F-86 variants were powered by the General Electric J47 turbojet engine. Produced under license by various manufacturers, the J47GE-7, a common variant, generated approximately thrust-dry, about 5,425 lbf 24.1 kilonewtons thrust with water injection, up to 6,000 lbf 26.7 kilonewtons earlier. Production blocks used the J47GE-13 with slightly lower thrust. Although the Sabre did not feature an afterburner in its main combat variants, the J47's thrust, reliability, and smooth power delivery contributed directly to the aircraft's reputation as a stable gun platform. The engine provided sufficient power for high-altitude engagements, while water injection systems allowed temporary thrust boosts during takeoff and climb. 5. Speed and flight performance. Performance figures varied among Sabre variants, but typical values for the F-86F model include maximum speed, approximately Mach 0, 93 around 1,100 km per hour or 684 miles per hour at altitude. Cruise speed, round 870 km per hour, 540 miles per hour. Service ceiling, approximately 49,000 feet, 14,900 meters. Rate of climb, up to 9,000 feet per minute, 45.7 meters per second. The aircraft demonstrated excellent roll rate, stable high-speed handling, and precise control inputs. Its swept wings gave it an advantage in dive performance and energy retention, though at the cost of slightly higher stall speeds. 6. Range. Endurance and fuel. The Sabre's fuel characteristics varied slightly by model. Internal fuel capacity, around 600 liters, about 426 gallons. Combat radius, approximately 460 kilometers to 185 miles depending on configuration. Ferry range, up to 2,450 kilometers, 1,520 miles, with external drop tanks. The F-86 could carry to underwing fuel tanks to extend its operational reach. However, it was not equipped for aerial refueling in its Korean War-era configurations. 7. Fuel consumption and operating cost. Precise historical fuel burn data varies, but available records indicate that the F-86 consumed roughly fuel burn approximately 1,000 to 1,200 liters per hour. In typical operation, operating costs were influenced by frequent engine maintenance cycles, early generation jet component replacement intervals, limited availability of high-temperature alloys during the era. Although cheaper than later supersonic aircraft, the Sabre required more specialized servicing than piston fighters, particularly regarding its turbojet engine and high-speed control systems. 8. Avionics and sensor systems. Sabre variants featured progressively improved avionics. Early models used the APG-30 radar gun sight, which automatically calculated lead for firing. This system significantly increased accuracy during high-speed engagements. The aircraft did not carry the advanced radar sets found in later fighters, but its gun sight and ranging radar provided pilots with reliable target tracking capability. Electronic warfare equipment was minimal by modern standards, limited largely to communication and navigation sets of the time. 9. Weapons and payload. The standard armament of early F-86 variants consisted of 6.50 caliber, 12.7 millimeters, and 3 Browning machine guns. Later models, such as the F-86 F2, experimented with for 20 millimeters M39 cannons. The Sabre could also carry Air-2 ground rockets, 500 pounds and 1,000 pounds bombs, external fuel tanks. Later export and upgraded versions incorporated AI and 9 Sidewinder capability, though this was not present in Korean War frontline U.S. service. Maximum external payload was approximately 2,000 kilograms for 1,400 pounds, giving the aircraft multi-role strike capability beyond its primary air-to-air mission. Tench stealth and survivability. Stealth was not a factor in the F-86's design. Its radar cross-section was typical of early jets, with metal airframes and exposed engine intakes. Survivability relied instead on maneuverability, high dive speed, strong airframe construction, redundant control systems. The aircraft's robustness allowed it to return to base despite significant battle damage, a trait valued during intense air-to-air engagements. 11. Real-world service and combat use. The F-86 saw extensive combat during the Korean War, primarily in air-to-air engagements against the Soviet-designed MiG-15, flown by U.S. Air Force units as well as UN partner nations. The Sabre established a reputation for reliability, high-speed stability, and effective high-altitude performance. More than 30 countries would eventually operate the Sabre, including Canada, Australia, Japan, Pakistan, and Germany. It served in various regional conflicts and remained in some inventories into the late 20th century. Pilot evaluations consistently praised its handling, roll rate, and smooth control response, particularly at transonic speeds. 12. Cost. production and global impact production numbers reached approximately 9,800 aircraft across all variants, including those manufactured under license in Canada and Japan. Unit costs varied by year and model, but early Sabres were priced at roughly $200,000, $300,000 USD in 1950s dollars. The Sabre became one of the most widely produced Western jet fighters of the era. Its export availability helped shape NATO air power, providing Allied nations with an advanced fighter platform during the height of Cold War tensions. 13. Strengths and weaknesses. Strengths: efficient swept-wing aerodynamics, excellent roll rate and controllability, effective radar-assisted gunsight, high-altitude performance, proven combat record. Weaknesses: no true supersonic capability in level flight, limited radar and sensor suite, high stall speeds compared to straight-wing fighters. Reliance on older gun-based armament in early models, the Sabre excelled within its design envelope, but was ultimately surpassed by newer supersonic fighters with afterburners, advanced radar, and guided missiles. 14. Final verdict: the F-86 Sabre stands as a milestone in aviation history. It marked the transition from propeller-driven fighters to advanced swept-wing jet combat aircraft, and proved its worth in one of the earliest jet versus jet conflict environments. Although long retired, its design principles influenced generations of fighters that followed, respected by allies and adversaries alike. The Sabre remains an enduring symbol of the early jet age, where engineering innovation, aerodynamic discovery, and strategic necessity converged to define a new era in air combat.